Hey, Sean, what's going on, man? We're back Wednesday again. Another show.
It's Wednesday. Last Wednesday, I was in a hotel room doing this.
This is feeling good to be back. So
yeah, it is. It actually is.
I'm coming to you live, and I'm like in this transition mode because I'm moving this weekend from California to Colorado. So that's pretty exciting. Awesome. Can't wait for that. So, Sean, being a co-host has been awesome, and we're thrilled to have you. But we're also thrilled to have two contestants this week: Cameron from Xeneth and Chris from MSP Process.
I know, right? And actually, we had the privilege of hanging out with Chris from MSP Process last week at Secure. He actually pitched live on the showroom floor. He competed. Unfortunately, he did not win. But maybe he needs more practice, which is what PitchIT helps him with. So by the end of the season, I expect Chris to be a top performer. Just putting some pressure on him today, should be good to go.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. So I want to remind the viewers here, this show is not just a show; it's an interactive experience. I like to call it. Wow. So leave comments, like chat with us. Engage with us. We'll
enter something. Yeah. Got it.
Enter something. Like and share and subscribe. And subscribe.
And it's funny. So I see in the chat, Greg already said, "Come on, let's let the show begin." This is great. I couldn't figure out how to get out of this site to come back as a spectator only. So, Greg, you're welcome for us helping you, a technology guy, remove yourself from technology. You're welcome.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and bring on Cameron. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm awesome.
Awesome.
Here in Sri Lanka at the moment. Sorry. We're
one at a time, guys. We can do this. I promise. We can do this together. Ready? And Cam, go. How are you doing, man? Again, let's try it again. How you doing, Cam?
I'm doing well. I'm here in Sri Lanka at the moment with new employees and training them. So it's good.
Sri Lanka? I mean, do people actually live there? I just thought that was a pretend place in a movie at one point. Nobody actually.
They have nice tea, apparently. That's the thing. Yeah. But yeah. So about Xeneth. Yeah.
What time is it?
It is currently 11:42 p.m. here. So it's better than Australia. Yeah.
That's late. That's pretty late.
It's late. So, Adam's like, I got a baby. I can't stay up late like that. I gotta go to bed.
No. So tell us a little bit, Xeneth. What do you guys do?
So Xeneth, in short, solves the two biggest problems MSPs have, like time and money. So we do that through billing automation of Microsoft CSP and your managed services contracts. We also delight your billing team with 100% accurate billing and allow them to focus more on other tasks that are more important than sitting there with two screens, data entry, basically. Mm-hmm. We also help MSPs stay away from or avoid the $500+ million problem globally, that is billing leakage. So that's it in short. How we got there, I had a hosting company about 10 years ago. We obviously did SPLA like every other hosting company. Found that we were underreporting in SPLA, got a nice $100,000 audit from Microsoft, a nice bill from Microsoft. So that really sparked my interest in making sure we got reporting right and billing right. I then went to be a CTO at a distributor here in Australia, well, not here in Australia, but in Australia, called Ripe. So the company was a software distributor doing Microsoft CSP. And when I came in, we found that they were underbilling by 5%. So a public company doing $200 million a year, underbilling by 5%, like that's a big problem. So we spoke to a lot of MSPs and found that this is just a common problem, and manual billing is a big thing, which really surprised me.
A question? Well, it is a problem. First off, it's your money, and it's just gone, right? And you can't go back and retract. It's bad business, correct, right? You can't go back like, well, hey, for the last 2 years, you didn't pay me on my full amount because I didn't bill you properly, so we're going to charge you an extra $50,000 all of a sudden, right? That's not good practice. Right. So but with that, how one of the chief questions and comments always, as we know, is how easy or hard is it for somebody to work with you all? How easy is the implementation, onboarding, and how does it affect the total dynamic of how they work, especially if you're using ConnectWise as a core product, right? How does that all work together? Those are the simple questions. So let's start first with how quickly or how easy is it to implement and work with you?
So I'll give you a perfect example. Like last week, we helped onboard a customer for a trial. We spent 45 minutes on the phone to connect into ConnectWise, connect into Microsoft. And after 45 minutes, I found them $260,000 a year extra in just 2 of their customers. So just to give you an idea.
Wow.
That's a big number.
Now,
so this is a very common thing.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. So okay, so now the next question is, how does that work in conjunction with, okay, so people are using ConnectWise for billing, invoicing, or WisePay, WiseSync, and whatever, because that all exists. Where does this fit into that whole, in the grand scheme of that?
So basically, we're updating the agreement additions. So we're not actually generating an invoice. We're updating the agreement additions. So basically, they can do a single bill with managed services and other things on that single bill, basically. So we're making sure the costs and the unit price or sell price is correct, and the quantity, obviously, and prorated the billing for them accordingly.
So is it a manual process in the beginning that becomes an automated process, or how does that look?
So basically, once you connected in with our product, you've configured it all up. All of your invoices from Microsoft are in there. So there's 2 modules we have. One's Microsoft CSP, the other one's managed services. So managed services being your per user per month service that you bill your customers for a service. So one of the challenges there people have is trying to find how many users are actually in use by end customers. So that's one of the biggest challenges that we see, and they're losing lots of money. So in Australia, there's MSPs billing anywhere between $100 and $250 a month for a managed service. So say it's $100 a month, you're missing 10 users, you're under billing. It's $1,000 a month you're throwing out the door, right, straight away.
Right. Oh, okay. One last question I have for this. Well, actually, I have like 10 more questions, but we'll shorten this down. So with that, is this also something that they could actually push through to their end users to use as well, or is it only going to be sticking within the ConnectWise platform?
It's purely designed for MSPs to help with their billing to their customers. So, and it's integrated with ConnectWise, AutoTask, ServiceNow. We're talking to people about Oracle and SAP and all sorts of other ones. So we generally deal with the big boys. So.
Okay, awesome. All right, I'm shutting up.
It's all right, man. So, Cameron, appreciate it. I'm going to pop you in the green room, and we're going to bring on someone else here. So Chris is going to be coming from MSP Process, jumping in right here. Chris, how you doing?
Guys, how's it going?
It's pretty good. Love the virtual background. It's pretty awesome.
Got to represent.
For sure. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of how you came about developing this organization.
Yeah, so myself and the 2 co-founders at MSP Process, we are longtime veterans of the MSP space. I worked for Enable at a long time. I also had my own MSP consulting firm for quite a while. Our 2 co-founders, Greg and Patrick, came from, for example, Backup Radar, which is a recent acquisition by ScalePad. And earlier in that, they actually ran their own, or Patrick Leonard, ran his own MSP called MyIT. A lot of good experience in the MSP market, and a lot of visibility into, hey, where are their gaps? Where are things falling apart that maybe people aren't talking about that represent opportunities where we could build a platform, build a tool, solve some problems in a meaningful way that perhaps are getting overlooked elsewhere in the industry. What we saw that was really interesting was kind of 2 things. One was, when it comes to service delivery, MSPs were looking to standardize on how they talk to their customers. I want to talk to you over the phone when I call you, or I want to send you an email or a ticket update. But what customers were really looking for was something a little bit more customized, a little bit more personal feeling, typically on their phone. And so the genesis of the MSP Process platform was around the idea that, what we can do, we can build pieces into, for example, ConnectWise Manage, and we can let our technicians talk to our end users through text message. That isn't particularly hard to do, but what it does do is solve some really interesting friction points or objections that MSPs have had for doing that in the past. everyone uses their phone these days. You tend to respond a lot quicker to a text message, obviously, than you do to an email. One of the reasons, though, that MSPs have typically shied away from sending text messages or talking about tickets with their customers over text is that they don't want to give out their phone number. That's the technician's personal phone or his work phone. That obviously doesn't make a lot of sense. But then the other problem is if that tech goes home and takes his phone with him, if I'm the next tech in line picking up that ticket, I've lost all the history. I don't know what was said before. There's a gap there. And so we solved that by embedding our texting capability right into ConnectWise as a pod, and also providing auditing of all the conversations that have been had over text message right into the tickets. The next tech in line can pick things up. Now, that was a really good start, but where we've really found traction is around end user verification. Sean, you were in the IT Nation Secure conference last week in Orlando. The keynote speaker there, Teresa Payton, longtime security specialist, she was talking a lot about things like deepfake AI voice cloning, which is a terrifying idea that if I can get about 20 seconds of your voice, Sean, and I can record it, I can then make your voice with your pitch, your tone, your cadence. It sounds exactly like you. I can make you say scary things like, "Hey, Adam, can you please reset my password and send it to this phone number because I'm on the road right now?" And Adam here doesn't know that that's not you. And in fact, the AI is so good that that can actually hold a conversation with Adam well enough that he gets totally fooled as to what the problem is or what the person is. Are they real or are they fake? We have solved that issue by expanding what our pod does in ConnectWise so that we can send that end user a verification code, a 6-digit code, just like you get in other platforms and tools in your day-to-day life. But it gets sent to you as an email or as a text message. We've recently added support for Microsoft Authenticator or Duo, but these are great ways to ensure that when you're talking to an end user as a help desk technician, you can send them this code, they can read it back to you. You can then understand that you are in fact talking to the right person. We solve that problem that Teresa Payton was mentioning directly. Our platform handles it 100%, which is great. I was actually really excited at the end of her keynote last week. When her presentation ended, I wanted to jump up and say, the problem you mentioned, this is exactly what we solve, because it was just such a good bit of context to provide for the attendees at that show.
Absolutely. So would you say your primary focus, it seems like you have two different areas of opportunity that you're dealing with. One is the tracking of and the tracking and coordination and transparency of all communications back and forth for support, right, through via text, right, to the verification piece.
Yep.
So I get both equally important, right? So how, like, are you guys gonna stay down both paths, or are you gonna eventually start to carve off to another one? What's the plan for that for the future?
We see them as intertwined paths. When we take a look at what our vision is, where do we play, where are our strengths, we feel that communication is really the main meat of it. Is we help you guys communicate, or MSPs communicate with your customers where those customers live, and we help you do it in a secure manner as possible. So to me, they're really intertwined. We do see as we go forward, there's definitely a lot on our roadmap that deals with expanding how we let you communicate with your customers and how we do it securely. So for example, things like expanding into other platforms like WhatsApp or Teams or Slack. There's a bunch of tooling out there for chatting back and forth that we want to standardize across and make our front end, the front end your technicians use, make them agnostic to whether that customer wants to use WhatsApp or the next customer wants to use Team or Slack or something else.
So you're multi-platform in this case then?
Yeah, that's where we see things going. Yeah.
Is there any limitation to the platforms that you'll use? Because you figure internationally, people use everything from WhatsApp to Telegram to God knows what else. Freaking, I don't even know. Take your pick. I mean, seriously, there's so many now. I mean, even Snapchat, for crying out loud. Is there any limitation to that, or is it something just basically a plug and play into any media?
It's very much a plug and play sort of thing. We do see a lot of demand from our international customers around things like WhatsApp in the UK and South America. Lots of demand for that there. As we get more demand from, it's usually kind of geo-specific, honestly. Like I said, WhatsApp has a big play outside of North America, whereas inside of North America, Teams, for example, huge pull for that.
Yep, I was going to say Teams and Slack is big. I mean, there's still those poor souls using Skype. But okay. So, and no matter which one it is, how easy or hard or whatever is it going to be for me to plug in play on, as far as if I work with you guys, I'm MSP and I'm using multiple apps for communication. What's that onboarding and implementation look like?
It's all really easy. One of the focuses we had building out this platform was we realized that if we made something that was, it's great, it solves, for example, end user verification, but it's difficult to use on a day-to-day basis, your techs as an MSP are going to find ways to go around it. It has to be really frictionless. And so the vendors we're talking about here, like a WhatsApp or a Microsoft, they all have super well-defined APIs. These are easy things for us to build very simple integrations into that from the technician's perspective, once everything is set up, is flawless, simple, 1 or 2 clicks, and he's off to the races.
Gotcha. Okay.
Awesome.
And then only other question I have here, no, I'm sorry, Adam, I'm done with this question, is just like I asked Cam too, based off what you're delivering, is this something that the MSPs can deliver to their end users as well to use in the future, as they could possibly sell to as a product?
That's a good question. Right now, this is primarily a sell to motion to the MSPs. It's not a sell through to their customers. Yep. I have, though, talked with a lot of MSPs who are using our platform as a competitive differentiator. When they're going out and trying to acquire new clients, when they talk about their security posture as an MSP, one of the things that they can say is that because they use MSP Process, they offer, we have a technician verification feature. I didn't mention this earlier. I'll take a second now. There's patent pending that lets you not only verify that end user is the person you think they are. There's also situations where your end customer may be getting called from somebody purporting to work for your MSP, and they're trying to trick your end user into giving them access to that environment, change a password, give them access physically, whatever the case may be. When your end user is with an MSP who uses MSP Process, that end user is able to say, hold on a second, I haven't talked to you before. I'm not really sure if this is something I should be doing. Give me just a quick second. And they can actually request that the technician verify themselves. The technician has to give a code back to the end user. We're the only company that does that. And so that actually provides a competitive differentiator for MSPs who are on our platform.
Very nice.
Yeah.
All right. I have questions, but I'm not asking any questions. I'm done. I told you. I'm done.
Exactly. Awesome, Chris. Well, thank you very much. Let me bring Cameron back on here. There you are.
Back.
Awesome. So really, I love this because you have one side of the equation. Cameron with Xeneth is around billing, generating that revenue, capturing that cost that's not tracked appropriately, and that's been going on since I've been in with ConnectWise, working in the ConnectWise world since 2006. It's just like time tracking right now is a big important thing, and so. On the flip side of that, you're talking about client experience, customer experience. When Chris, MSP Process goes to that, goes to the technician, engineer, right there to where they're on the devices they're at, and then with that extra layer of security, 2-factor authentication or whatever. I think that's what you guys call it, or one-time passcodes, whatever you want. So that's kind of cool seeing those experiences. So the question let's start off with is just how are you monetizing this right now today? So is there a monthly subscription? Is there user base? So Cameron, I'm going to start off with you. If you could fill us in a little bit.
Of course. So basically how it works is we take a small percentage of the processed revenue through our platform, basically. So in the case that I mentioned before, the 260,000, it ended up being that they're going to be paying us about $10,000 a year. And they're making back 250,000 basically in that case. So it's a monthly subscription, but percentage based.
Gotcha. So is it based on the number of additions they're syncing with your platform?
No. So it's based on the percentage of revenue. So it's based on a percentage of the revenue processed by the platform. So the revenue, if the platform processes $1 million of revenue, then it's based on that. If the platform processes $10,000 of revenue, it's based on that. So
nice,
depending on how much you process.
It's just crazy because when I started doing consulting, this is way back in 2012. I had a client who I was reconciling their bills, and we were aligning agreements, making sure the pricing was all accurate, and they misbilled their Microsoft licensing in their cloud by $9,000 a month, and had been missing it for 2 years.
Very common. Very
They
common.
apparently weren't missing.
Hey, here's all these licenses that you've been paying for, but you haven't actually been rebilling the clients.
That's
so
insane.
I have a more difficult question, but I'll pause that one for right now because it's just like, how are you going to communicate that to the client? Like, are you going to back bill them? It's like, so that's a bigger challenge. So Chris, how do you guys monetize MSP Process?
Yeah, so because we're a fairly new company, we are really keen to get our product into the hands of as many MSPs as possible. Coupled with that drive, obviously, is you guys both know how highly targeted the MSP market is by cyber syndicates or foreign state malicious actors trying to get access to the MSP's estate and from there push out ransomware or otherwise deliver all kinds of nastiness down to the end customer. So from a monetization perspective, we have 3 plans that we offer. The first one is free. Whether you're using ConnectWise or another platform, we offer a free, the pod in ConnectWise that lets you do end user verification over email or text message at no charge. And that's not for 30 days. That's not for the first year. That is free. We really want to give this in everyone's hands with as little friction or obstacles as possible. After that, our other 2 plans are in fact paid plans. It's month to month. There's no contract involved. It's really simple to get into. We do charge by tech, so that's the seat that we charge by. So it's not by your end users; it's by the number of technicians. So as you grow your business, we grow with you. And those are again per month. It's $150 a month for 5 techs is the baseline for the first paid plan, and $200 a month for the higher priced plan. Everything in the kitchen sink.
Wow, awesome. Fixed fee pricing. I like it as well. So awesome. So with that, I'm just curious of where you're at today, what you've achieved in your organization, because again, I don't know how long you've actually been around. So how long you've been around, and then basically, you don't have to tell a specific number of customers, but just kind of, I guess, that process of like where those milestones are at. So Cameron.
Yeah, sure. So we've been around 4 years, but
Okay.
I have to say I started the business as more of a lifestyle business, if I'm honest. So balance builder, if you want to use ConnectWire's terms. Like for me, it was a project that I kind of was doing on the side and traveling a lot. But we really ramped it up in the last year. So yeah, we've made some good impacts, and I think example we found 2 MSPs over $1 million a year that they were underbilling, and just the other day that was like just an example of 260,000. So it's every time someone pays us, it's usually 10 plus times more that we make them than what they pay us, basically.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Chris, what about? Yeah, go ahead.
I have a quick question too on this. So basically, you're both essentially free in general, because
Yeah.
people are only paying you if they make money.
Correct.
Right? Essentially. And Chris, for
Yeah.
you guys, you have the free one, and then is it really how different is a paid to a free with you guys? What's missing, or what's because obviously there's something, right?
Yeah. So for example, with our paid plan, the first paid plan, you get things like that patent pending technician verification feature that I mentioned. You also get things like alternative ways of doing end user verification. Maybe your customer, for example, is a duo shop. That's how they do it. Or maybe they want to use Microsoft Authenticator. Those are options that are available on our paid plans.
Okay. All right. The only other thing, just a thought as I listened to both of you talk about your offers. One, and actually Adam kind of alluded to this too when he talked about people tracking their hours and whatnot too, is a big problem these days. We know a lot of the conversations that take place in the back end through text are never billed as a billable hour, right? So, and theoretically, the 2 of you guys could work together in general. If based off of those, if it takes an hour of texting back and forth, that's a billable thing to make sure that gets uploaded into the billing for what Cameron's doing. Does that sound about right?
That's fair. Yeah.
See,
Yeah,
I'm just bringing people together. See, bringing them together.
I love it. Love it.
Great.
I like it, Sean. Yeah. So let's go, Chris. What is your kind of growth strategies and scaling? What are you looking to do? What are those steps, and what do those milestones look like?
Yeah, from our perspective, where we have really hit kind of pay dirt from a new customer acquisition perspective is attending shows. That IT Nation Secure Session conference last week was really, really good. We find that is by far the best way for us to sort of spend our marketing budget is to go to those shows, meet people, build relationships. You guys are well aware of how relationship-based the MSP market is. We find meeting face-to-face, talking to people about their problems, and then walking them through what aspects of our platform maybe help solve those specific problems is by far the way to do it. That doesn't scale for forever, though. There's lots of shows to go to, and there's only a finite number of us. Definitely getting into things like we're doing a webinar tomorrow with Halo, for example, because we're partnering with them in certain ways. Partnering with other vendors who have similar.
Whoa. Sorry.
Anyway, partnering with ConnectWise is lovely too.
Okay.
My point is, from a go-to-market strategy, we really think that conference is the way to go. Things like normal organic acquisition is great. Expanding our SEO budget is good, and partnerships with the right vendors is excellent too.
I do like, Chris, that you didn't miss a beat as I booed you. Good job on that.
That was well played. He'll be
spot
prepared
on.
for the stage. So
Right? Yeah.
yeah,
We have to throw things at them. If they're, start throwing stuff at them, we should start doing that.
So Cameron, what about yourself? What's the strategy around, where you're? Is it getting into the U.S. area? Because you're down in Aussie, right? So what's your growth strategy?
So you hit the nail on the head. Basically, it's North America, in short, is the big thing. So a smaller MSP over there is a medium-sized MSP in Australia. So yeah, we generally are targeting higher-end companies. So last year we got shortlisted down to 2 for New Charter to do all their billing. That's a large MSP group, and I guess we're trying to target those companies, which there's a lot of MSPs in a group, and there's all sorts of challenges with bringing that group together.
Yeah,
is where we're trying to focus. So a lot more marketing, like we're trying to go into that market. We're sponsoring the IT Nation Connect at the end of the year, that sort of thing. Just really, so we're also a sponsor or solution partner for the Evolve program here in Australia. In Australia, not here, but yeah.
Yeah, so, you're in Sri Lanka, Cam. You're in Sri Lanka.
I keep forgetting.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Nice.
but yeah. So it's also some investments from the Evolve program in Australia to IT Nation in America, PitchIT program here, all this sort of stuff. Trying to really get out there, get our brand out.
Awesome. And so I have a question. So where are you at in Australia? I'm just curious. Sydney, Melbourne,
Brisbane,
Perth?
actually.
Brisbane.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to be out there at IT Nation Connector Sydney. So
Oh, really?
I would
Okay.
definitely love. I don't know if you plan on attending that, but
I'm
love
definitely going to be there. So
be out there. Awesome.
That'd be cool.
For sure. Yeah. So what is the biggest challenge that you've come across so far, growing, scaling, and getting? What is that? It might be a software problem. It might be marketing. I don't know. So Chris, let's start off with you.
Yeah. So from our side, finding that product market fit and then getting those first kind of 20 customers, honestly, that was the big mountain to get climbed over. That probably took up far more of our efforts than the next kind of like 180 customers took, for example. It really was hard to get that product market fit right, and get those first 20 customers were actually really key in giving us the right feedback and helping us shape where the platform needed to go and how it needed to evolve. I'm really happy with that because that's led us to really quick growth now that we've got product market fit nailed down.
Awesome. Cameron, how about yourself? What's been that biggest challenge for you?
Yeah, so I'm probably I like the comment from Chris. To me, was finding the target customer profile. So for me, I've tried different areas from smaller MSPs to larger MSPs. Somehow we seem to work better with larger MSPs. So it's one of these things that's been a big challenge, is trying to find where we actually fit, and who gets more excited about finding $1 million, I guess, basically. So. And it's more the more established companies that seem to be more of a fit. And I think the other just technical problem is Microsoft changing APIs or the way they do billing along the way is been fun. So
yeah. Nice. Well, we're unable to trip you guys up a little bit. You guys got some answers, and so Greg over here, keep trying to pepper
Greg,
you guys.
What should we ask him, Greg, to trip him up? Well, you got to give us some insight.
Yeah, right. Nice. Give a shout out to Greg.
Like that one time in Indonesia, ask him about that and see if he gets stripped up.
Yeah.
We were in Thailand that one year.
Hey, Sean, can we ask you a question?
Absolutely. You can always ask me a question, Chris.
What is your T-shirt there, good sir?
It is the hero of the WWE, Randy the Macho Man Savage, the man, the myth, the legend. Everybody should know this man. Talk about a true performer that couldn't get tripped up, was him, no matter what happened.
Great. That's an excellent T-shirt. Good job.
Oh my God. Right? My buddy, a good friend of mine, gave me for my birthday this year, and I was like, dude, this is like, actually, his wife has the same shirt. She was wearing this shirt one day. I was like, I love that shirt. Obviously, I couldn't fit in her shirt. She's much smaller, although I would totally wear a medium. Yeah. And all of a sudden, I was like, so she made sure she got me the shirt. So I was like, you're awesome. Thank you.
That's great.
And anybody knows me knows I'm like a t-shirt snob. Tennis shoes and t-shirts are like my thing.
That's
Yeah,
great.
I think I'm representing some old CW Boss stuff here.
I know. Look at you with your hashtag CW Boss.
Hashtag
You need a
CW Boss.
tagline. You need a tagline on that.
I
Like,
do. I
like
do need a little
do it like a
tagline.
boss.
Yeah, exactly. So let's shift gears just a little bit. So Chris, talking about the PitchIT program, what's been your experience so far? First time through, is it meeting the expectations that you thought, or is it a lot more work than you initially thought? Just curious of your feedback here.
It's really good. It is work, but honestly, it's very useful work. Getting our messaging together on point, having things like 1 or 2 minute long kind of elevator pitch speeches kind of ready to go. These are all really important things to do. And even though we have versions of them internally and we say them in different ways, it's got us to a point where we focused everyone internally on the same kind of messaging, not as much variance between them. It's been a really good program to walk through, honestly. It's great.
Awesome. Cameron, how about yourself?
Yeah, likewise. So Sean mentioned when he first introduced the PitchIT program to me that basically I'm going to be starting to do stuff that I probably should have been doing the whole time, but I've never been doing. And I think that's been it for me. Is to Chris's point, getting that pitch right, like getting that elevator pitch, trying to work out where we fit, and really still trying to work out our marketing message. We've been focusing a lot on marketing, trying to get a piece of content out every week. That sort of thing has been a change just purely by being part of the PitchIT program. So,
I think when you and I met, and our really good friend, I'm not going to mention his name because let's not even talk about him. It's like Voldemort. Let's just leave him out. Let's leave his name out of this. Okay. Anyway, whenever he introduced us, we had a conversation, and you kind of went around when I explained how things work with this, and you were debating on whether you're going to apply or not. You kind of addressed the fact that you had to do some things that were out of your comfort zone and do some different things to get that growth. So has this lived up to the expectation of discomfort so far?
Yeah, I think so. Well, the fact that I've never done podcasts before, as an example, like it's a new thing for me. So that's definitely been a challenge. But look, it's a challenge I'm enjoying, and yeah, it's one of these things that, as you said, I have to do, and I just never been doing.
You're doing it really well.
That's good. You're doing real. And Chris, I mean, you got thrown in like last week, like, hey, we're doing a live pitch at an event. Ready, set, go, Chris. Like literally. So how you feeling about that?
Well, at the time I was pretty nervous. I spent time in one of the empty hotel hallways rehearsing before that PitchIT. So it was a great time. But honestly, I really love talking about the problem space that we're in, talking about MSP Process as an organization. So it was a lot of fun. And watching how everyone else positioned their company, there were a lot of really great creative presentations and pitches at that show. It was awesome.
Very creative. I mean, that was a whole rap was one, and then tossing money was another. And we saw Fulton just run in there and grab those $2 bills. He was pretty quick on that.
Man, he was out of nowhere. He was like Mr. Deeds butler changing socks with the $2 bills, man. Like out of nowhere. I looked over, I was like, who was that guy?
Right.
Who's that balder guy with a bad beard? And I'm like, oh, it's Craig Fulton.
Yeah. So a couple closing thoughts. I know we have some time here. We got to wrap this up, but let's start with Chris. Some closing thoughts. One, what would you do with the prize money? You win the prize money, and then two, just any check out your website or whatever.
Absolutely. So we'd love to get a lot further in this program. Winning it would be absolutely amazing. We already have several internal, very evil plans set up for if we were to win it. What would we do with that? Largely at this point, I think our need is getting our word, our message, our product out there more and more. So probably the marketing end of things would be where we'd really want to focus that. We think we have the right product. Our feedback has so far been very positive. We just need to get more people to come and take a look. If you guys want to take a look at our website, that'd be fantastic. It's mspprocess.com. You can sign up there. You can Obviously, look at our pricing plans, check out our feature list. We would absolutely love to have you guys visit. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, we'd of course be more than willing to talk to you guys. Not just willing, happy to talk to you guys on any of the different socials, LinkedIn, Facebook, email, whatever you want to do, we'd be happy to chat.
Awesome. That was well done. And you're actually probably the first contestant in the past 3 years that I've been doing this to use that you're going to plan on doing something evil with.
Well, evil's the best way to run a business, right? No,
Yeah,
it's not.
It is. So is.
I like it. I like it. So Cameron, how about yourself? Closing thoughts, and what would you do with your prize money?
What would I do with prize money? I feel like the Miss America pageant say world peace, but AKA invested in the IT Nation Connect and in events.
Yeah, that's what you want. Invest in IT Nation. Yes, that's it. Just do that.
But I think overall, it's not just that. It's actually just in investing in marketing generally. So just trying to get our brand out there and get the word out there that billing is a big problem. And so I guess the takeaway for me is, whether you want to come and talk to our company or not, it doesn't matter. But I would suggest that you really invest in looking at your billing, because the smallest number we've seen, and even talking to my competitors, is 5% underbilling. And what does that 5% mean to you for your business? What your revenue is. What does that look like for you? And so we have a free trial up to 10 customers, and we can find you additional revenue for free. So basically, come and talk to us if you want to try and find some more revenue.
Awesome. Really cool. And Sean, we've been doing this for a while. I'm just reflecting on some of this and kind of what consistent messages. A lot of companies are saying, hey, sales and marketing is a big thing. Sometimes I feel like I'm wearing my software development hat. I have a SaaS platform. I'm not hearing a whole lot of I'm going to invest in my development team, or, there's this one feature that I just need to get over. Right. So that's kind of the interesting piece. It's always sales and marketing, sales and marketing, sales and marketing.
Yeah. No, I mean, well, first off, you got to consider the maturity of the businesses that are in this, right?
Yep.
A lot of people in our space are engineer people first. So they build a product first. So they spent their money and their time the last year or 10 or 25 years, even on trying to perfect their offering. So yeah, tweaks are always going to happen. Upgrades are always going to happen. That's a given. You're going to add features on as you progress based off of what the customers come back to you with. However, usually everybody's in this program are basically at the stage of, we know we got to grow now. We have a great product. We have a great solution. We just need the world to know about it, and we have to focus on those things. And you've seen it for the past couple of years. The first challenge is always the messaging. How are they going to say really what they do that resonates well, and simplify the process of actually working together too? Those are usually the first two things that you end up seeing, because you use Alert Ops, for instance. We did an article with them in CRN Magazine, did this, or CRN.com, whatever they want to call themselves now. However, yeah, CJ Fairfield, that's a plug for you, girl. I love you to death. You're my girl. Anyway, she wrote the article on them, and they talked about how they were able to, one of their focus points was getting out there, getting the word out, but then also they realized that their onboarding process needed to be trimmed down. They learned it from one of the sessions, and they cut their onboarding down 50% in time, which is huge, right? Because again, theoretically, everything is easy until you actually go do it, right? And then you're like, oh, I got to fix these things, right? And it happens often where you think you got a good plan and you start doing this stuff until you start implementing, then you find all the misses because you haven't really done this yet. You find the gaps. So those two things, and then after that is really, again, back to exposure and back to selling and setting actual proper expectations. That's a huge part of that messaging piece. So yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm glad. I'm actually happy that that's where we are. I'm so happy that's where we are, because that's what we want. We want people that are ready to get into the business of growth and be a long-lasting partner in the ecosystem.
For sure. Just an observation. It's pretty awesome seeing that. So thank you, Sean. Great. Awesome. Enjoying us every single Wednesday. We'll be here next Wednesday as well. Cameron and Chris, awesome. Love learning about your service offering. That's really huge. Two very distinct offerings that really make a good impact on client experience and actually money, bottom line at the end of the day. So appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your week, and see you guys next Wednesday. I'll be live from Colorado. Who knows where, but that's where I'll be. So from my laptop.
Picturesque place, kind of like when you were in Mexico doing it the one time. I mean, poor guy. Anyway.
All right. Anyway, later, guys.
Thank you.
Peace out.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See you in Australia.
Later.
Yes, definitely.